What's going on, guys? Mitch here. Just finished up wrapping up the Rapha 500 over the 2020 Christmas season, and I kind of wanted to do just a quick follow-up on kind of my overall experience of it, and some tips that if this is something that you want to do moving forward, things I've learned that might help you accomplish the 500 kilometers in 8 days. First things first, I want to start with a couple tips. I've made a list here of a couple things. I came up with 8 things that I think would be helpful to know now that I've gone through it. So number 1, I would say get your family's support. So that could be your better half, could be whoever's in your house, your kids, whatever. Get their support in knowing that this is something that you want to do, and this is something that has to be a priority for your time. It's a lot of time to be putting in such a short period of time, so make sure that everyone's on board with your goal, and that it's your time to be a little selfish, but maybe just say you'll give it back down the line. Number 2, break the 8 days down into a plan and stick to that plan the best you possibly can. For me, I didn't find out about the challenge until day 2, so I had 7 days to kind of fit it in, and at the time I sat down and wrote out how I wanted to accomplish this, and I even wrote out a plan B on if something were to go wrong. If you're doing this in 8 days, you're having to ride 62.5K per day. 7 would be 71K, 6 days, 83K, 5 days, obviously 100K a day, 4 days, 125, 3, 166, 2, 250, and if you're an all-star, you can hit it in 1 day. You do have to do it in 500K. So all I'm trying to illustrate here is that if you have a plan, stick to that plan, knowing that you're going to run into some kind of issue, and have a plan B, an escape road, so to speak, so that you can stick to your plan. Number 3, open with a big ride. So I would say, kind of aside from taking a day off preceding the 8-day challenge, open with your biggest ride of the 8 days if possible. It's when you're going to be the freshest. It's when every kilometer counts, and if you can stay out that extra little bit while you're still feeling fresh, I'd rather pull that mileage out of the time where it's easy to get versus the time where it's harder to get. And then the other side of that as well is, you're covering your losses. You're going to have days where you don't want to ride, so if you open with a big ride, you're making the biggest dent out of that 500 you can right off the hop. Number 4, I would say get a friend to ride the event with. So during my time, I think I had 4 of the 6 days. I had my buddy JD help do some part of it anyway. If anything, it gets your mind off of things, and when you're sitting there, you're sitting there thinking about nothing other than the clock and ticking kilometer after kilometer off. So when you get another perspective on things, it really helps just get your mind at ease and stop thinking so much about the challenge itself. And before you know it, an hour has gone by that you didn't have to plan on otherwise. Number 5. So understanding that you're going to have bad days, I would say, is the biggest thing to recognize. They're not all going to be good. So when you do have good days, and for me it was right around day 3, day 4, I kind of felt this, my body was getting used to the challenge of the mileage and the repeatability. When you're feeling good, take advantage of those days. I can specifically remember one day I had gone into it with a 50-kilometer mindset. I was feeling good, and I extended that out to 100K and flipped my days around so the following day was rest. Just be a 50K rest day, mind you, but it's only because I was feeling good in the saddle. And when you're feeling good, maximize that time and push through that and get some extra miles out of it, or extra kilometers out of it while things are still feeling great. Number 6, don't break your ride streak. So in the plan that you've set out for yourself, don't take a day off in the middle. It's really important. This is one of my, I would say this is one of my biggest recommendations. Even if your quote rest day is a 20K or 30K day, don't take a day off. As soon as you get into that mindset of taking a day off, the mileage just piles up. Like I said earlier, you know, that 60K a day versus 70K a day versus 83K a day versus 100K a day versus 125 a day by eliminating no ride days. They add up, they compile, and they compound because you're not in a better position down the line to complete those heavy ride days like you would right now today. So don't take a day off. Have your rest days as still pedal days. If you have to, just get in your ride outfit and motivate yourself to just spin 20 kilometers as a rest, do it. I'm telling you, your body does not like to take a day off in the middle of this challenge. Number 7, I would say this is something, if you really want to keep your body fresh and keep feeling good, I would say vary your riding kit. Specifically your chamois, your top, doesn't really matter if you want to wear a wool shirt or merino wool or a jersey, whatever, go ahead. But vary your riding shorts, if you can, the brands themselves, just to kind of give your soft bits a variation between your saddle contact points, which, especially for me riding indoors, really helped me have a couple different chamois that kind of changed things up and kept things a little more fresh. Just one of the things I noticed. And my 8th and final tip, I would say your recovery is as important as your effort on the bike. In that, a couple things that you have to do here. Number 1, be eating during the ride. Every half hour, 45 minutes, or even every hour, make sure you're getting some calories in. And every hour, a full bottle of water should be going down the hatch no matter what, just to stay hydrated. After your ride, you saw me, protein shake right off the hop, getting a meal in me right away, getting some carbohydrates in me right away. Really important to maintain that recovery, and then obviously get a really, really good sleep. So if you're fueling up, getting a good sleep, you're going to feel better the next day so that you can continue on your challenge or on your journey of hitting that out of the park. That to me is one of the bigger ones as well. So that's my 8 tips that I would say really helped me get through the Rapha 500. So those are my big tips that I would say to complete the Rapha 500, my top 8 anyway. You could even give yourself a bonus 9 and say, following it, reward yourself. Give yourself something at the end of the tunnel, a light at the end of the tunnel to look forward to. If it's a new part, a component, a kit, a memorabilia of the event itself through Rapha, just something to get excited about that at the end. You have a reason to do this other than posting about it on Instagram and YouTube like this guy. So that's kind of it for me. I would say the challenge was a great success, especially being indoors. Getting me to ride indoors was awesome. It took up my time over the last 6 days or whatever. So really excited. I think everyone should put this on their list of to-dos in a year. Burn some calories off and do it for a good purpose and get your fitness up, and just that last push for the end of the year is really, really cool. So I'm glad I did it, and that's my big top 8 or 9 list, whatever you want to call it. What do you think? Is that good? Is that a good list? Should I add something to it? Is there something that I missed? Leave your comments below. I read every single one of them and try to reply to every single one of them. So if there's anything that you think I should add, let me know. I can always make another add-on video and throw it in the playlist. But that's it for 2020 for this guy. I'm going to take a couple days off the bike, start feeling a little bit better, get some, as you can see, I shaved, which is nice. But that's it. So look forward to going back to regular scheduling programming, and we'll talk to you guys in 2021. All right? Later.